This film, or these films, are titled The Dark Knight Returns, Parts 1 and 2. Part 1 was released on September 25th, 2012, and Part 2 was released January 29th, 2013. It was written by Bob Goodman and directed by Jay Oliver, starring the main cast of Peter Weller as Batman and Bruce Wayne, Ariel Winter as Robin and Carrie Kelly, David Selby as Commissioner Gordon, Wade Williams as Two-Face Harvey Dent, Maria Canals Barrera as Officer or Commissioner Ellen Yindel, Michael Emerson as the Joker, Mark Valley as Superman Clark Kent, Michael Jackson as Alfred Pennyworth, and no, not that Michael Jackson.
Chacon?
Apparently, it's just another Michael Jackson.
Chacon, Master Wayne.
Maurice LaMarche as Anchorman Tom, Michael McKean as Dr. Bartholomew Wolper, Gary Anthony Williams as Mutant Leader, Robin Atkin Downes as the Green Arrow Oliver Queen, and finally Jim Meskimen as President Ronald Reagan. Some fun extras here is mentioning is Frank Welker plays Mayor Stevenson. Frank Welker, very famous voice actor, of course. And then we got Bruce Timm as Thomas Wayne. Bruce Timm produces, so he gets a little cameo. Conan O'Brien as the TV host David Endocrine. Rob Paulson as Rob. Funnily enough, Rob Paulson plays Rob, the voice of Raphael and so many other characters. And finally, D. Bradley Baker as Dom, another very famous voice actor, mostly known right now for being in the Star Wars, The Bad Batch. Also he voices like a ton of the Clone Wars characters as well. So music is by Christopher Drake, and animation is by Moi Animation Studios. Moi. I had to make sure I was... It's spelled Moi, M-O-I, but they wanted us to pronounce it Moi, like the French me. Yes, so civilized. Honorable mentions as well. Moi Animation is also known for animating the third season of Avatar, The Last Airbender. So same animation company, as well as the studio behind Batman, The Brave and the Bold, The Spectacular Spider-Man Show, Young Justice, and the animated films such as All-Star Superman, Batman Year One, and Superman Batman Apocalypse. On a side note, we should also probably put Batman Year One in our list to watch because that is also a really interesting adaptation because they do have narration in it, unlike this movie. And Bryan Cranston voices Commissioner Gordon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got Gordon written all over him.
Yeah, he does. Face. So we'll check that out. Writer Bob Goodman is also known for his work on the new Batman Adventures, Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Justice League Unlimited, The Batman, Superman Unbound, and the creator of the Zeta Project. So that's probably how Bob Goodman got the gig, because that's a lot of DCAU creds there, and Bruce Timm is the producer of this film, so I assume that's probably how they know each other.
Yeah.
And then we got director Jay Oliver, is also known for being a storyboard artist on live-action movies such as Deadpool and Thor Ragnarok and Wonder Woman. So some pretty well-known films there.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, you know the Sting? I can't quite remember it now. It was in the Justice League Special Edition. Like, every time she appeared. It's like the June 2 music.
Yeah, it is kind of like that,
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Jay Oliver is also the director of the animated films The Invincible Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Justice League, The Flashpoint Paradox, and Batman Assault on Arkham. And then music composer Christopher Drake is also known for his music in Batman Arkham Origins video game, which is cool that he did that. Yeah. Batman Under the Red Hood, Batman Year One, and All-Star Superman, and the movie Tusk by Kevin Smith.
Oh, okay, Tusk.
And interestingly enough, Christopher Drake got the job for Tusk because Kevin Smith saw these two parts and loved the music so much that he got to have Christopher Drake on his podcast, and then Drake ended up doing the music for Tusk, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. I did enjoy the music.
I did too. I thought it was a bit Hans Zimmer-y Dark Knight Rises, because that's when that Dark Knight Rises was coming out around this time or this year with the first. Yeah, so it definitely had that like Zimmer like you know.
It did.
But I thought it was pretty good. I really like the more like the somber, like It's almost like dun 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 when he's thinking about his parents being killed and everything.
Yeah.
I quite like that. And it sounds a bit 80s, which works for this movie as well. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
So we got acting creds as well. I'll highlight only a few as there's so many. So Peter Weller, who plays Batman and Bruce Wayne, is also known for playing Buckaroo Banzai and, of course, the most famous robot cop of them all, RoboCop.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think?
On Oreo.
What did you think of Peter Weller's performance in this movie?
I really enjoyed it. It was funny hearing him because at times I did think he's RoboCop. It's like, dead or alive, you're coming with me. I'm Batman.
Yeah.
He just sounds like RoboCop because he was RoboCop. But yeah, I really liked him. I actually think it might have been my favorite thing about the whole movie.
Me too. I think Weller is so good. Like when I read this comic when I was younger, I pictured Kevin Conroy doing this, right? Because I just always would hear his voice when I read a comic.
Yeah.
So when this film was announced and I was like, oh my God, Bruce Timm's producing it. That means Conroy's going to do this. We're going to have Hamill as the Joker. Let's go. Yeah. And it wasn't. I was so disappointed and I was like, RoboCop. Yeah. And then I watched part one and the way Weller takes that like old, hardened, kind of like on his, like he wants to die, you know, he's got a death wish, this Bruce Wayne, and just you hear that in his voice.
I'm not finished yet, and you're not finished with me. You're never finished with me.
And the way he also like balances with bringing Bruce back to being Batman and then caring for Carrie Kelly, you know, Robin. And I thought he did an excellent job as Batman and Bruce Wayne.
There's also a sort of it's like psychotic quality that Peter Weller brings with it.
Yeah.
He's a bit wild. And there is that. There's an edge. And particularly to this Batman, because I feel like he's lost it a little bit. I thought that was there as well.
Come on.
Jeez, man. Spud's into it. So what? Slice and dice.
Come on.
Oh, no. Can't do it when they into it.
Now, I will say for all our listeners, usually when we're doing these reviews, we're making fun of things and like having some laughs. But look, for me, this material is very hard to make fun of because I love it so much. Yeah. But like, if you love it, then hopefully you're enjoying this. Maybe there'll be something funny. But yeah, for the most part, this is just going to be an absolute like just love fest. Me and Ben are in the tunnel of love right now.
We are,
and
I'm about to gouge your eyes out. Yeah, that's right.
And I'm about to set you on fire.
What I'm saying is, I'm Batman.
Oh, all right. Oh, so I'm going to be stabbing your guts.
I quickly claimed that role when you threw that out there. I'm Batman in this situation.
Yeah, so, totally built.
Yeah, look at my background.
I guess speaking of Batman in this, in the books and in this interpretation, what do you think of giant, bulky, massive Batman?
I think in this he works so well. I don't know. I think because he's older, he has to be more of a physical presence. Like, you know, young Batman can be quick and sleek and agile. This Batman, he's just brute. That's what he's going to do. He's
a boulder.
He is. And he charges in there and he's like, he will just stand in the way and take the punishment. And he wants to take the punishment. So I think it works really. I love this version of Batman.
So do I. So much. Yeah. I love it so much. I love that he's a big beefcake. I love that he's built like Triple H, you know, or like
Triple H for Christ's sake. Batman. Yeah, Jim Ross. Yeah.
Again, how no one knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman because he's the only one in the 80s that's built like a giant brick shit house. I don't know.
Jim Ross knows though. Wrestling's Jim Ross.
Is Commissioner Gordon Jim Ross in this?
Yeah, he should be. Oh, for Christ's sake, Batman. Yeah, that would be fun.
By God, it's Two-Face Batman. By God.
Oh, you son of a bitch! Oh my God. Yeah.
He broke the he set him on fire. He set him on fire. By God,
See,
the
now
audacity.
That should have been a very occasional, like, on the TV screens, the news reporters, and then Jim Ross comes up and gives his, like, Fox News take on the whole thing. They were in the tunnel of love. He broke him in half. Oh, for Christ's sake. Then that Jezebel came in. See, that could have worked.
He is sick. He's sick.
That's a sick King. Oh, King's got to be in it as well.
King's got to be in it. Yeah, King's got to be in there.
Yeah.
My God, it is what did he used to say? It's a slobber knocker.
It's a slobber knocker. Yeah, that's right. It would him and the mutant. Jim Ross should have been with that.
Oh, that would have been so good.
Okay, it's the mutant chief. Oh, for Christ's sake. This is a real slobber knocker. He's broken him in half. Yeah.
My God, Batman is going to claim back the title. The champ has come back to claim back the title in the mud pit. It's going to be a mud pit wrestling match. My God, it's going to be so dirty.
Batman should have brought some ladders and like
tables.
It's a steel chair. He should have brought a steel chair with him. That'd been great. And they should have hung a belt from the air.
Oh, that would have been so good.
It's a spear.
You don't get it, son. I'm the champ. And then he just smacks him with the chair.
Stone Cold Stunner. I could see this Batman walking down into the wrestling ring, not saying a word. You could see it. He just kicks some ass and walks out again. Yeah, like the Undertaker does. That's absolutely it. He just runs in. What would his move be? It would be. I think it would be like sort of a bear hug into a slam somehow. He's so jacked. It would just be like he just picks someone up and then just like slams them down. Oh my God! And then he just walks out, and that's it. It was Batman.
Why not just have Hulk Hogan's theme like "I am a real American"?
Why
but
not?
Instead of American Batman, just chuck Batman in there as
well. I am a real
Batman.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it scans, but that's it. How about? Well, it's the Batman. Like the Big Show.
I like that.
But it's Batman.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
I like that.
There's a lot of options. There you go. Said we weren't being funny. Now we've gone full on wrestling. We've gone completely the other way.
We have, and I want to see it now. I really do.
That's all.
Yeah, you just need reminding to be funny. Be funny. Be funny, goddammit.
All right. Okay. All right. Fine. Okay.
I think this is the first book. Well, I know it's the first book that actually takes Batman and like flips it on its side, where it's like this dude is actually quite unhinged and like is quite psychotic, because that's what Frank Miller's intention was, right? Like no one had seen the Dark Knight like this yet. They'd only seen like, you know, the Adam West version, or in the comics leading up to it, they got some Neil Adams and some Denny O'Neil, which is delving more into like the darker side. Yeah. But this one just tore the curtain down, you know, and was like, look how messed up this dude is. And I really like that because it started a whole movement of what Batman can be. This book started it all.
Absolutely.
You know?
It was, I think I read it, I was too young to read it. And a lot of the images really embedded themselves in my mind, because there's some really quite haunting pictures in the book. There's a lot of pretty nasty violence. I remember Bruno as a character. God, I must have been like 8 or 9, I think, because my cousin had it. He was big into comics, and there were just certain things, and I don't know if it was at that time. I don't know what it is, but there's always been a very grubby. I've always felt of it as a very like grubby and quite nasty book. There's a lot of there's some nasty violence, and I think the kind of nihilistic portrayal of that society as well. It's like it's a place where there is not a lot of hope, where people are just getting slashed up on the streets. You know, like New York in the 80s.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And that haunted me as a young man. And then I came to
that's interesting.
But also, I don't think I was at that time. I didn't have enough Batman knowledge to understand how groundbreaking it was in terms of what Batman had been before that. Coming to it now, and again later, that I appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah, I so the first time I read this book was when I was 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I was perfect age for this book.
Yeah.
Because I had experienced Batman the Animated Series, obviously, by that point, and most of the DCAU, like the new Batman Adventures, etc.
Yeah.
I had read some Batman comics, but this was the first proper, like, I felt like an adult book for me.
Yeah.
And I was 13, and I was actually on a plane. I was flying from the US back to the UK for a visit, and I read it on the plane. And I remember when I stepped off that plane, I was just like, everything like I think about Batman is different now. It's just like it changed so much. And I know what you mean about the book being like really like I don't know what word you use, but dirty and gritty is ones that come to mind, and like messy, like even
and
the
artwork
is just so messy and beautiful.
They just scrawled. It's not they shouldn't even make sense, but they do.
They do.
Frank Miller's amazing.
It's so good.
But it's just this there's just this incredible, just as grubby was the word I used.
Grubby.
This is quite nasty.
Like you feel like your fingers are going to have like a layer of dirt on them each time you turn the page.
That's how I felt reading it. And at that age, it definitely felt like a book I shouldn't be reading. I felt like almost a bit naughty for having, you're like, read that.
SWAT stickers on boobies?
yeah, exactly. I definitely didn't get any of the political stuff at all.
No.
And I think I found it quite hard to follow at times. But, obviously I get it.
Yeah, of course. But then you're much younger. Yeah.
I was. So that was my formative experience of that book, which has definitely stayed with me. So
now I'll get to more of the cast and we'll talk about their characters as we go along. But a question that just popped into my head now really is, how do you feel this film did interpreting the comic? Now, I think it's impossible to obviously bring the comic to life, but how do you feel that these parts 1 and 2 did?
Well, I hadn't seen this until a couple of weeks ago. I hadn't seen the adaptation before. So initially I was quite underwhelmed. I found the animation in that opening scene and throughout certain points of part 1 it felt like the most generic adaptation of the book that could be. It didn't work for me. I was thinking about how far animation has come with, things like Into the Spider-Verse, and I just felt like there could have been a truer representation of Frank Miller's artwork. And I know there would ever so often there'd be a shot which was like, oh yeah, that's straight from the comic. Right. But it just felt a little too clean and polished. I enjoyed part 2 a lot more. I thought the end of part 1, when he fights the mutant, I think for the second time, that was really good. That was a great fight. That was nasty, and it just livened up.
You finished, old man. You don't get it, son. This isn't a mud hole. It's an operating table. And I'm the surgeon.
You don't get it, son. This isn't a mud hole. Yeah. It's an operating table, and I'm the surgeon.
Like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Now it's good.
Weller did such a good job with those lines, just to highlight even more.
Yeah.
Like, there is so many great lines in this book, and I love at the end, too, when he's up against Superman, he's like...
But I didn't have to go easy on you. A different binding agent, a stronger mix. I want you to remember that. I wanted to remind you to stay out of my way. In all the years to come, in your most private moments, I want you to remember the one man who beat you.
And he nails it.
He did. Completely nailed it.
It's so damn good.
Yeah. And, someone like Weller, he smashes it. But there are other times, I think the mutants, the talk of the shivving and, the slicing and dicing, it didn't quite work, I don't think. I thought some of the vocal performances were very good, but I don't know, like the chief mutant guy, he just didn't sound as I wanted him to sound.
Right, okay.
Yeah, there were things that bothered me, but I definitely got into it a lot more, and by the end I was really enjoying it. But it took a long time. What did you think?
I love these two parts.
Mm-hmm.
I love them specifically. I know what you mean about like the animation looking cleaner. It's very Bruce Timm, and like Bruce Timm in the new Batman Adventures, there is an episode that involves like 3 kids talking about what they think Batman is, and one of them tells a story of like, oh, my uncle or something like that, like was a security guard at this, and it's like a 1950s like Dick Sprang like Batman story. It's animated like that. Another girl that looks just like Carrie Kelly in the episode says The Dark Knight Returns, and that it's drawn like Bruce Timm's interpretation of it, and it's almost like a blueprint for this.
Okay.
And so for me, I felt like I'd already been indoctrinated into that type of style to expect it. And if anybody was going to do it, I was really happy it was Bruce Timm, because he loves the material so much, and I felt like he's going to respect it, because a lot of animated films that are based on comics, Hush, for example, is just, in my opinion, just bad. Like they change storylines, they cut things. The animation doesn't even look like the book at all.
Yeah, Hush is a stunning book. Like Jimmy's
and
artwork.
It doesn't look like it. So for me, they tried, and what I love is that I just love Bruce Timm's style of art anyway. So I think that this would be my, even if there were other versions, this would still be my favorite just because of the creative team behind it. So I adore it for all those reasons, and I've watched these parts 1 and 2 a hell of a lot because I love this story. I'm a typical fanboy and I don't care. I fucking love this story. It's my favorite Batman story. I know it's boring to say that, but it is. It's so damn good.
I like the way they handled the story, and I thought the pacing initially, it did take a while to get going, but I like how what they wrapped up in part 1. I think in the book, the Joker he comes to life earlier.
Yes,
whereas
he does.
Keeping that as the kind of the climax of part 1, I thought was really effective.
Yeah, I did too.
And I like the pacing of it. But yeah, I mean, I can't stand by what I said.
Yeah, of course.
It just wasn't the comic in my mind, I suppose.
Yeah,
and maybe I was wrong, and maybe it would look weird if it was a completely faithful adaptation. But yeah, I think I just wanted a bit more dirt. I wanted to feel how nasty those streets were, and it didn't do that for me.
Much like the movie Joker, right, Ben? Your favorite movie.
I love
those
dirt.
those streets are so dirty.
Yeah, so dirty. I do like dirt. Yeah. And also, I know that the flashbacks are an important part of the story, but I'm kind of bored of them. Like,
what, seeing Bruce Wayne's parents die?
Yeah.
I mean, we all are, but like this book,
I know.
you gotta do it.
But
it's in there.
Like, here we go again.
Yeah, I do like seeing him chase a rabbit though and falling in a hole, and that's how he discovered the Batcave and stuff.
Yeah,
I thought that was
the big bat.
something.
Yeah,
the big bat. Yeah, exactly.
And he's losing his mind. Like he's a madman.
The assault and mutilation.
The terror that poor little boy must have felt. Storm coming in like the wrath of God, about to hit Gotham.
You try to hold me back, but you're weak.
And he's a madman with a death wish, which is what I love about this Batman, because he has nothing to lose anymore. Like, he wants to die. Again, this would be a good death. I love how that runs through the whole film, and by the end, this will be a good life. Like, what a great piece of
Yeah.
storytelling there to lead up to. I love that so
And a
much.
surprisingly hopeful ending after all that.
Yeah,
which is
that's true.
great.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So more voice acting creds here to go through. We got Ariel Winter, who plays Robin Carrie Kelly.
Mhm.
She's also known for playing Alex Dunphy in Modern Family,
Oh.
and the Harmony, who's like a 7-year-old girl, Harmony Faith in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. She was like
Right.
7 at the time,
Mhm.
so that's what she's known for. Then we got Wade Williams, who plays Harvey Dent, is also known for playing the Blackgate Warden in The Dark Knight Rises, the prison guard in Venom. Actually, Warden prison guard. He loves a prison role, I guess.
He does.
He
belongs in
also
prison.
he plays Black Mask in Batman Under the Red Hood, Rourke in Gangster Squad, and he is the voice of Killer Croc in Beware the Batman.
Mhm.
But I've just instantly skipped over Carrie Kelly there because I'm just listing creds. But let's go back. Let's talk about what we think of Carrie Kelly in this. I think that Carrie Kelly is a great Robin, and I think for the story she works so well. I think
Yeah.
Ariel Winter did a really good job. But my question to you is, well, one, what did you think of Robin in this? But two, do you consider Carrie Kelly a Robin that belongs up there with like Dick Grayson and Jason Todd and Tim Drake?
Yeah, I thought she was great. I really enjoyed her, actually. I think what worked for me was her relationship with Batman. And there's that part where, he hugs her. It's like the big one page shot where he like embraces her because he
on
needs,
the glider.
Yeah, he needs something.
Good soldier. Good soldier.
I bought their relationship and I thought she did a really great job. And actually, when she was undercover as a mutant, she sold that. Like, she convinced me that she was a mutant, whereas the others sounded kind of clunky. But she got it right. So yeah, I really liked her. I thought she was great.
I thought
Good
she was great.
Robin.
I also love her parents being like these old hippies that like were thinking they were making changes, but really they were just getting high and like basically protesting from their living room essentially, and like they're washed out and like they're useless. Where she's actually going out and trying to make a difference, and I really love that.
I like the scene where her first sort of crime fighting, where I can't remember what she does. She just kind of freaks the guy out that's about to rob them. But the boyfriend, like, they don't thank her at all. And that felt quite realistic.
Yeah.
Like, that jock boyfriend would be too embarrassed to say thank you, wouldn't he? That scene resonated. I like that one.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I also really loved when she's on the roller coaster and she's fighting. I always used to think this was Toy Man, but apparently it's not.
Okay. I thought it was as well.
I can't remember who it is, but it's listed differently and in the books as well. But let's just say, for the argument's sake, she's fighting Toy Man on the roller coaster, and it's when he's overpowering her and she's like, oh my god, like Batman's not around to save me. And the way, like, obviously she sells it with her voice acting and also the animation. Like, you were like, oh my god, this girl's like 13 and she's like being assaulted by a giant maniac, a beast. And it's when he then gets his shirt caught and his head goes kasplat and her face is just like, what have I got myself into? Like, this just got so real.
Yeah. It's mental. That was one of those images, actually, because in the comic, I think he falls and lands on the track and his head goes splat.
Yes.
And that was one that I was always quite disturbed by. And then, they changed it, but it was grisly. It worked.
Yeah,
his
I thought
head
it was
was
good.
still burst, which is what he deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a maniac.
Yeah.
We've got, as I said, Wade Williams, who plays Harvey Dent. What do you think? Because he's the first villain that we really encounter in this.
Yeah.
And how that's depicted. It's the weakest one, I think.
Yes, I agree.
Out of all of them. But what I really do love about Harvey Dent in this, because I wouldn't even call him Two-Face, for obvious reason,
Mm.
is I just love that he's not scarred at the end.
Yeah.
You know, that
But
like he's
he is.
mentally, he is,
Yeah.
mentally messed up. And yeah, I just love that, like, go ahead, like, have your laughs. They've all like have their laughs when he's pulling the bandages off.
Mm.
And I love when Batman's like, what did you do? And he's like tearing them off, like,
Yeah.
show me. And it's
good-
nothing.
Yeah.
It's
But
really good.
But he just feels, well, I guess that flash of what he thinks he looks like he's just, both sides are bad now.
Both sides are bad.
Yeah, I think, and it's the same in the comic. His art was all a little bit too quick. I think it worked. I was thinking about it. I couldn't figure out why it works better in the comic, but in this, it was like he gets his face repaired, and then all of a sudden he's on the roof leading these people to terrorism, and it just all felt a little bit too rushed.
I think there's something in the comics where, like, and maybe in the film as well, they briefly mentioned that, like, he's killed a certain amount of people and like basically like gone on a rampage. And he is holding the city hostage in the book as well.
Yeah.
What I loved about the depiction of that scene, because obviously there's the famous sniper gun and then the blowout of the bat signal, which is why he wears the bat signal, because it's a target. Like, that's Frank Miller being a genius there, being like, why does he have a bat signal with yellow on his chest? So they can aim at it, and he knows that that's where he's got the most like bulletproof, vest on and stuff. All of that is shown but not explained. What I did love is that Batman uses Scarecrow's fear toxin on the guys on the roof.
Yeah, he did.
Which I thought was very cool.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Your favorite nightmare should last about an hour.
It's like when he's used like Mr. Freeze's gun in the past and stuff like that and other iterations. I like him being like, well, as much as you're a maniac and I'm going to put you in Arkham, I do like this and I'm going to have that in my utility belt and use
very
it.
useful.
Yeah. So that was fun. But that does lead me to the biggest question now I think about it, because I'm just thinking about the bulletproof spot and the target on his chest. Do you miss the narration in these films compared to the comic?
No, I don't feel like I did. I would have happily heard Weller's narration, but it's a different medium, isn't it? In the same way that I just thought, like, because you can spend more time with a picture in a comic and it forces you to think around it more. I think that's why the Two-Face thing works better in the comic, because in this, what's presented is the story. Whereas I think there's a little bit more room for interpretation in the comic about how he might have arrived at that.
And I guess there's some narration, like when Bruce is finally becoming Batman again, and you hear Peter Weller like, you know it in your soul, and like, he's just like, it's Batman begging to come back out, like that was that narration is essential in that scene. Like, you need to know what Bruce is thinking.
I do wonder if it would have given it more of a kind of gritty noir feel. I would have liked to have heard it, but I don't think it missing it massively.
No, I think you're right. When I first saw this, it was something I was most critical about, was that there was no narration, because I like being inside Batman's head. Like, it's the only medium as comics is where we know what they're thinking. I know it works because I've seen Sin City. And that's narration up the wazoo, and I've seen great film noirs, obviously, where it's the same thing. So I knew it could have worked, but honestly, the book is so chock full of that, and you've got to like do the story justice. This film would have been like 6 hours if you were to do all of that.
Isn't it? The book is dense. There's so much going on.
Yeah, so I respect it for not being in and them still telling a story. And you get things like Gordon, like, I think of Sarah and the rest is easy, which is a narration in the book, but in this, he says it out loud when he's giving his speech, and so you get those elements just at different points of the movie still, but at least like that,
those lines are still there.
They're still there, all right, let's talk about a big one. Let's talk about Michael Emerson, who plays the Joker, who's also known for playing Zepp Hindle in Saw. He's
Oh.
the fake out guy in the first Saw movie where you think he's the bad guy. You think
Right.
he's Jigsaw, but he's actually not.
Okay.
He also plays Ben Linus in Lost. I'd say that's probably what he's most known for.
Oh, right, yeah.
And Harold Finch in Person of Interest, which
He was
is
in Fallout
fairly rare.
recently, I think. The new
Was he in
TV
Fallout?
show. Yeah, if that's the guy who was...
Oh, I've seen all of it. I bloody loved it. I don't remember
Am I
seeing
thinking
him.
of the wrong person? What's he called?
Michael Emerson. Who do you think he is as a character?
Yeah. He is in Fallout. He's the guy who
Oh,
loses
of course
his
he
head.
is. He's the guy that loses his head.
Yeah, it's him.
With the dog.
Yeah, that guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
something
him.
I've just seen him in. Wow, you're
was
right.
great.
Okay. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was great.
that's
What do
his-
you think of... So, yeah, what about this Joker? How
We'll
do you
leave
feel about
Fallout.
it?
But it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was horrible. He was really good. I liked how long it took him to kind of come round.
Yes.
But once he got started, I mean, yeah, there's that part in the Tunnel of Love where he's just shooting people. He's just murdering people.
Excuse
it was
me.
like-
Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it
no
was
compassion.
okay. All right, they've turned up the heat here. They really went for it in that scene.
Yeah.
And actually, it was violent before that, but that was a complete other level. And it was like they'd saved it for that because it really was shocking. But
Well,
yeah,
anyone that's read the book, you know that's going to be the final Joker versus Batman
Yeah.
sequence. So they're kind of like putting that like extra bit of hatred for Joker sauce on
Yes.
top, where you're just like, okay,
Yeah.
Batman, you're going to have to kill him
He's
now
just
because I've just
killing
watched him shoot like
innocent
6
people.
people. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I thought he was great. I really liked him. I thought he was very sinister. There's the endocrine talk show. I thought he did a great job on
Yeah.
that. I mean, that was
Yeah.
very. The Joker was clearly influenced by that.
Yeah.
And then the weird dolls with their gas mouths. They were good. I know this isn't it, but they worked, and they freaked me out in the
They
comic,
did.
and they freaked me out in this as well because they had the exact same weird look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought he was
Almost like
really good.
the Canadians in the South Park movies and TV.
Yeah.
They've got like those half head flappy heads.
That's
kind
right.
of going on.
They're just like mutated Cabbage Patch dolls, aren't they? They're just like the
Yeah.
worst possible version. But yeah, I thought he was great. What did you think?
I thought that he was really good. Again, when I heard this, I was like, why isn't it Mark Hamill? What are you doing? This is
Yeah.
such a mistake. But then because they're just so definitively Batman and Joker for me, and when I read comics, they're the voices I hear.
Yeah.
So I was really disappointed at first. But then when I heard his performance, and what really sold me is when, first of all, the darling is really good when he says that. But also when he's facing Batman in the Tunnel of Love, which is just the perfect setting because
Yeah.
obviously there's the underlying theme that Joker is in love with Batman, right? Like that's the whole point. And I just love where Batman goes, all the people I've killed by letting you live. And he goes, I know, and I love you for it. And then just the way he goes, this is it, isn't it? Like this is
Yeah.
what we both. And it's just it gives chills every time because it's these two titans that have been in a dance forever.
Yeah.
And it is like the moment that they both thought about separately for years, and now it's finally happening, and we get to see it. I just think Emerson brings it in that. So does Peter Weller.
He
like
nailed it.
it's really well done. Yeah.
It is.
It's finally here, isn't it? The moment we both dreamed about. Oh, don't tell me you're gonna fall asleep before we finish. You have gotten old, haven't you?
And his ultimate death, like in the comic, he just kind of dies. I think he's his neck's snapped, and he laughs, and then the laughter ends. Whereas in this, it's kind of like he like cracks his own neck. It's quite an odd it's a final tweak that somehow ends him. It was good. It worked.
Yeah.
and it was nasty.
And they kept the stabbing in, like, you know, when Batman's strangling him and he's just stabbing him in the guts, like, and you see it as well, and he's laughing, like, they don't hold back there, which I really appreciate. They nailed it.
They really
It
did.
is one of the best scenes of I mean, it's part 2, so
Batarang in his eye, and
it's so good. And then stop laughing, and it's just his dead body, you know, like on fire, but he still hears the laughter. Like, that's just a great line where you like, oh wow, Batman still hears his laughter. That's really messed up. Like, he's messed up. It's Joker's got the last laugh, literally, you know, like, it's great. So, okay, we got Maria Canals Barrera, who plays Officer and then Commissioner Ellen Yendel. She's also known for playing Hawk Girl in the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited shows in the DCAU. So, again, probably a connection with Bruce Timm there. What did you think about her character from the books going into the film and how she works in the story?
Yeah, it was all right. I can't say I was particularly that memorable. It does work. She's the counter to Gordon, isn't she? And she doesn't back down.
She looks like an older Carrie Kelly. Like, if Carrie Kelly didn't become Robin and followed a similar, like, I want to uphold the law, she could end up looking like
an
Ellen
alternate
Yendel.
Universe. The same universe. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that was her path anyway, even as Robin.
Maybe. The thing I like most about her character is obviously she's stepping in and being like, yeah, I know Commissioner Gordon, like, I know how you've done things, but, you know, I'm younger and I'm of the times now, and, like, I'm going to do things my way and differently. And it's just so great that she tries and she tries, and at the end she's like, Batman's too big. Like,
that's right. They have that chat, don't they, about him being too big.
I love that, and I love how she realizes, and it's like, oh wow, Gordon wasn't doing this just because it was his own personal choice, but because Batman is just too big to touch and to like, Batman is Gotham. We need him. Like, and I think that's great that, like, even though Gordon passes the torch, the next commissioner's like, yeah, we need Batman. Like, yeah, we need that guy that runs around in a cape and beats the shit out of criminals.
Yeah, fires missiles at them and throws batarangs in their eyes and arms. Yeah, he's fine. He's good. He's good.
Yeah, he's good. Keep him around.
What else is there? There's not a lot else we can do. Yeah.
And there's great stuff, like when he's trying to get to David Endicrin's show and he lands on that rooftop and he fights all those cops in, like, the smoke bombs, and that's a great scene.
Fox, Stokes! Russian!
Russian?
He's twice your age, son. Find the nerve.
Okay, let's talk about Robin Atkin Downes, who plays Green Arrow. He's also known for playing Scarecrow and Thomas Wayne in the Long Halloween animated movies. He's also Angelo in the live-action Suicide Squad movie. He's Doomsday vocals in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. And he also does the demon voice in The Conjuring 2. So he's done some, like, weird, like, horror or, like, monster things, like he's the Doomsday vocals in Batman v Superman. What did you think about Green Arrow in this, and, like, the brief appearance, but also there's a lot of story there that, like, we find out.
I think he played a broken, vengeful man very well. He definitely sold that.
He did.
And it was a cool late addition to the party, and sometimes they don't completely land, but I thought he did. And as you said, you know, the story that he brings with him, you're instantly like, oh, okay, fair enough.
What is it you want, Oliver?
A piece of him, the schoolboy. I always knew it would come down to the two of you someday. The world's not big enough for the both of you. Doesn't have to be a big piece. Just count me in. For old time's sake. Still hurts when it's cold. Lately, it's been cold a lot.
Like, it's messed up that Superman obviously went around and shut all of these, like, vigilantes and superheroes down.
Yeah.
And, like, we get a brief idea of, like, Diana went back to oh god, what's the name of her island where Wonder Woman's from? It's
Oh,
terrible.
yeah.
It's just gone from my name.
Yeah.
And Hal left the planet, so Green Lantern's gone.
Yeah.
And then Superman ripped off Green Arrow's fucking arm.
Savage.
Savage.
Yeah. That's
If you're not going to
brutal.
stop being Green Arrow, I'll stop you. Yoink, thanks for your
He's
arm.
done.
Yeah.
I hope he healed it up quickly with his like heat vision.
Oh god. Still hurts when it's cold though. Not that good. Yeah, I thought he was excellent, and I love his inclusion. I love the kryptonite arrow, and it's him that fires it. And the arrow's green. You know, like what? That's a nice touch.
He's just happy to be involved.
We got a few more here. We got Maurice LaMarche as Anchorman Tom. He's also known for playing Mr. Big in Zootropolis and Brain in Pinky and the Brain. So there's some interesting creds there. We got Jim Meskimen, who plays President Reagan, is also known for playing...
green.
Yeah. I also love how they never refer to him as Reagan in this, even though it's obvious it is him. They just refer to him as the president.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's also known for playing Officer Houlihan in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and Telmu White in Apollo 13, and Martin Housley in Parks and Rec. So a few creds there. I recognize him. I'm rewatching Parks and Rec now, so I know exactly who that is. We got Michael McKean, who plays Dr. Bartholomew Wolper.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Bartholomew is a great character. I like him a lot. But Michael McKean is also known for playing David St. Hubbins in This Is Spinal Tap. He's Mr. Green in Clue. And also he is Chuck McGill in Better Call Saul. We all know him.
Oh, wow. Chuck.
Yeah, he's Chuck.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
I think he's great. I love Dr. Bartholomew Wolper.
Yeah, I like him.
How he's like believes that Batman's the psycho, and all these people are like, you know, they're just damaged goods and they're victims and they need help, and then he gets fucking just axed in the throat by a cup. Like, just excellent.
You have to remember, this man isn't responsible for those killings. He's merely a victim of the Batman's psychotic obsession.
I thought I was Batman's psychotic obsession.
So you think the Batman's the real sicko here?
Without a doubt. He's an obsessive-compulsive, narcissistic, hero-complexed sociopath. I would love a shot at him as a patient.
Do guests get to keep these?
Sure, you do whatever you want with it. We got a closet full of them.
It's an awful take on it, isn't it? It's like this good doctor who's genuinely trying to help, like naively trying to help these criminals. And I mean, it may just be so he gets to go on TV, but he pays the price. He certainly does.
He does.
But yeah, I liked his performance.
I thought it was very good.
That was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And then finally, Gary Anthony Williams, who plays the Mutant Leader, is also known for playing Tarek in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and he is Bebop in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. So those Michael, what's his name, the director, Michael. Why am I forgetting
Bay?
Michael Bay? Thank you. I can't believe I forgot that. He's Bebop in those. So I mean, you were talking about the Mutant Leader before and how like you didn't buy it. I always picture the Mutant Leader sounding different as well. I didn't picture him sounding like a wrestler cutting a promo.
All this metal, and you don't even use it to kill. It's just a shell to keep you safe. What's the matter? Ain't you got the stomach for it? I call you coward! Come out here and face me like a man. I kill you. I eat your heart. Prove you can take me. Prove you can fight with your hands. Come on, man. You boring me.
That's what he sounded like, right? Like,
yeah, he did.
He's in the locker room and he's like, they want to face me, but I'm going to face them, brother. Like, I was expecting him to say brother in any minute, you know?
Ooh, yeah, brother. He's, for me, he was just more of a monster.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a horrible monster. I think he'd sound more like Slipknot. He should just be like the whole time, like a really guttural roar before he goes and gets Batman. That's kind of my version of him. It was fine, but I felt like he lacked a bit of
He wasn't as scary as he was in the book.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He is scarier in the book.
He is scary in the book, definitely.
Yeah.
The only part where I liked is when the mayor goes to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't remember the exact line, like, nice to see you, Mr. Mayor, or something like that, and then just kills him. Like, very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we usually do like a utility belt of fun facts. So there's quite a lot of facts. I may not be able to get through all of them, but we'll definitely get to some of them about the making of this movie. Obviously, this is an adaptation of Frank Miller's graphic novel. Miller also wrote the screenplay for RoboCop 2, which starred Peter Weller, who voices RoboCop and Batman.
Let's
fun
not
connection.
dwell on that film.
You don't like that film at all, do you?
Nope.
Is that your Joker?
Oh, I hate RoboCop 2 so much.
Do you actually hate it?
Yeah, I hate it. It's just
I don't mind it. It's not the first one.
RoboCop, the first one, is
a masterpiece.
I'd say lightning in a bottle. Yeah, like the tone.
That film is dirty, right? Like it's as dirty as The Dark Knight Returns.
So dirty, so dirty.
It
Whereas
is.
RoboCop 2 is just junk. I don't like it at all. But anyway, move on.
It's not my favorite, but I'll move on. The red phone that the commissioner uses to contact Batman has the same design and beeping tone that the one from the 60s TV show has. I don't know if you picked up on that, but that was a fun little cameo there. For children's marketing reasons, the scene where Commissioner Gordon is smoking a cigar in the graphic novel is replaced with nicotine gum. Commissioner Gordon actually explains this, stating, "My wife made me quit cigars."
So that's so they could get more children to watch the adaptation of The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I mean, you've got throats being slashed and stabbings and like people were set on fire and broken necks and stuff.
That is like having no smoking in a Saw film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So guys, we can't sell this to the kids if they, you know. So,
my God, King, he's gone too far now, King. He's smoking a cigarette.
He's smoking a cigar. Christ's sake.
It's disgusting.
Hell. He's vaping, King. For Christ's sake.
I kind of like vaping. Ha ha. It's Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is apparently. Ha ha.
Yeah.
I kind of like vaping. Ha ha. Oh, I kind of like this one.
I'm a big fan of vaping. Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't do it, King.
That's unsettling.
It's a weird thing that that censors have. But anyway,
McDonald's
that's
toys just wouldn't have worked, would they?
yeah. Joker's got stabbing action, but God forbid he's got a cigarette in his mouth.
Get your gas-releasing puppet kids.
I mean, Joker smokes cigarettes in the book too. I've just remembered that. He smokes a ton of cigarettes in Arkham and such.
Over it, mate.
Yeah, because he's kind of David Bowie based in Dark Knight Returns. Like, there's a bit of Bowie in him, especially with like his appearance on the live show where he's got like a very glamorous suit on.
Well, yeah,
it's a bit Bowie. The scene where Batman pulls the mutant through the wall is similar, if not identical, to the scene where RoboCop pulls the gunman through the wall in the film RoboCop. Obviously, again, Peter Weller and Batman and RoboCop being the connection there. Okay, so Bruno is modeled after Bridget Nielsen. Did you know that? I had no idea.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I see that was good. I can see the resemblance.
Yeah. When the young mutant walks into the convenience store before he gets into the firefight with Commissioner Gordon, you can see the graphic novels of Sandman, Swamp Thing, V for Vendetta, and Watchmen. All of these graphic novels are obviously other DC properties, written by Alan Moore, most of them as well. Batman, The Dark Knight Returns was one of the two comic books that inspired designer Vincent Conair to create the Comic Sans font. The other comic book that inspired it was Watchmen. So the Comic Sans font that we all use in our computers is literally inspired by The Dark Knight Returns and mental. Watchmen. Isn't that mental?
They're to blame. Comic Sans.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I thought that was wild. Yeah. Throughout the entirety of the film, Superman is never directly addressed as Superman. When other characters speak, they either refer to him as him or Clark. I really liked this. I didn't actually give Superman any credit as far as other acting roles because I didn't recognize anything he's done. But what do you think of Superman in this story and in this movie specifically?
Yeah, he's sort of. I mean, he's a bit of a puppet, isn't he? He kind of has a redemption at the end when he seems to. He's always reluctantly going after Batman, but I like when he winks after he hears the heartbeat. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, he's still
figured
good.
it out. Yeah.
But he's a pretty bleak version of Superman, really. He's just a weapon.
Yeah.
That's it. And I like how he's used as a weapon of war as well, which is definitely how he would have been used. Like,
absolutely.
You know, that would be his main function. But yeah, I liked the version of Superman.
I thought he was really good in this. I thought that he did that sort of Boy Scout voice, but also a Superman that has seen more of how dark the world can be.
I've seen things.
Yeah, like just the way he speaks. Like when he's fighting Batman, he's like, "This is idiotic. Like, what are you doing?" Like, you know, like he's so confident. Like nothing's beaten him. We see a nuclear bomb go off, and we see the fallout, and that scene, like in the book and in this film, really sticks with you. Like zombie nuclear Superman is pretty messed up.
It is,
and the fact that he reaches for flowers, and obviously all of the radiation has just destroyed the plants.
Yeah.
And you see him basically like looking for sunlight, like to be like a recharged battery. And the way his body grows back when he's
like,
finally
this wizened, like, it's quite the scene. And it's such an iconic shot as well. It's that lightning bolt going through his skinny Superman body.
Yes.
Basically, me, if I was Superman, I'd look like that all the time.
No, you're jacked. You said that. You got Batman behind you. That's the picture you're going for. This is a before and after that we're looking at right now.
I think my secret might have been revealed, unfortunately.
I think that the addition of Superman, it's kind of like he's the final boss of a video game, right? Like Batman has worked his way up and he's fought like Harvey Dent, and then he's gone up against the cops, and he's gone up against Mutant Leader, and then he's gone up against the Joker, and then his final boss fight is Superman. And I think
hell of a day. Yeah,
it's a hell of it's a really good way, and it's the first time that Batman they were super friends before this book.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for them to be enemies. And as Green Arrow said, always knew it would come down to the two of you. Like the world isn't big enough for both of you. And they both have the same ideas, just they want to just execute them in different ways.
Yeah.
And again, that's really great. And just the fight is fucking awesome in this film as well. It's a really good fight. I love when they're in the construction scene and Batman's just like, okay, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab this. Like these two giant like boilers almost. And he's hitting them with that.
Clang.
Yeah. And he throws that like that big wrecking ball at him and Superman whips it back at him. And it's just really like you feel the jeopardy for Batman in that fight. And the suit is obviously doing its job, but it's still like he's 1 second away from death, and Superman is holding back, and he is. But that's because he doesn't want to kill Bruce, and Bruce knows that and takes advantage of it.
Yeah,
and one of my favorite things in the film that's actually not in, I don't think it's in the book, maybe it is, but it's the scene where Batman jumps out of the Batmobile, runs and hides. Superman flies over looking for him, and he knows that he's going to use his X-ray vision. So he programs missiles to search for X-ray visions being used.
Yeah.
Then the missiles send, and they bombard Superman, and they just explode all around him. And you see Superman fly down like from the bombardment and hit the ground. And they cut to Batman, and he just smiles. Like got him. You know what I mean? Like, I got that son of a bitch. Like, I knew
my
that
work here is done.
Yeah.
It's actually not, Batman, unfortunately.
You got a long way to go.
You got to die yet, but, good start. Strong
So
start.
what do you think about Batman's whole plan and Alfred's being included in that plan as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think like Batman. How old do you think he's meant to be in this? Because I was thinking,
I think he's supposed to be 65 in this.
right. Okay, because in the 80s, like 65 was really old. Like now,
Right.
there's some pretty young-looking 65-year-olds. But what Alfred would be like 100?
I'm guessing Alfred would be like 90 something. Yeah.
He'd be well old.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of mean that Alfred's still being dragged along for the ride. Come on, okay, Master Bruce. Oh God,
my everything hurts. Please don't make me do this.
But he's Alfred, so he's got to be around.
Yeah, I think that his plan, though, obviously destroy the Batcave and Wayne Manor, and Alfred, and he says like, "Do you know your part in this?" to Alfred, and Alfred says something along the lines of like, "Can't say I'm happy about it, but I will do my duty." And I was thinking, does that involve Alfred's death, or does he just happen to die coincidentally?
I've always thought that the death is. He's not part of the duty. It's just that he's done. Like I don't think Batman would have chosen that for him, but I think it's like, yeah, Alfred's finished.
So does Batman So Batman obviously fakes his own death, like slows down his heart so much that Superman thinks he's dead. So when he wakes up, he doesn't know Alfred's dead yet. So like Carrie Kelly like opens the coffin and she's like, "Boss, like it's okay now." And he comes to and he's like, "Did the plan work?" And she's like, "Yeah, the plan worked. Like Superman, thinks you're dead, or like he's gonna let you go. Can we just can we call Alfred and let's get a couple beers in, like let's celebrate." And she's like, "Ooh, about that."
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to tell me? No, not really. I mean, your house blew up, but that was part of the plan, wasn't it? Nothing at all. No, nothing. Batmobile's okay, so.
Or even worse, he wakes up in the coffin and they put Alfred in there with him. He's like, "Oh my God, it's my dead butler. This is my worst nightmare. Get me the fuck out of here."
But I think that, in the same way that Batman hears the Joker still laughing, I think he'd still, like, Alfred's still alive to him.
Well, he still hears like the bell ring.
Yeah, I don't think Alfred's dead. And that's when they're all like, "Shh."
He doesn't know. They're all the mutants that are the sons of Batman. They're taking turns dressing up as Alfred, and like surfing.
Yeah, to help him out. Or they're just sitting there. They're looking. They're just planning their next move, and they just hear Batman out of nowhere say, "Thank you, Alfred."
Just it's for the good of the city. Just let it. He still sees his dead butler. We all know he's dead.
Yeah,
but he just won't let it go.
I think he still see it. Yeah,
he makes me dress up sometimes in a tux. It's weird, but we let him do it. So we got a few more facts. The Batmobile from Batman '89 can be seen in the Batcave when Batman is testing his new suit. He holds it up. I don't know if you caught that, but it's the '89 Batmobile.
Didn't. I'm gonna have to check that again.
Yeah, it's kind of a slightly different design, but it's definitely the '89 Batmobile.
Yeah.
So Julian Caldo's design coming back yet again in so many iterations.
Yeah.
We got the David Endocrine show in the comic is clearly drawn to look like David Letterman.
Mm-hmm.
The actor playing David Endocrine is Conan O'Brien, who later took over the late night show for Letterman in 1993. So nice little cameo there for him to obviously take over for Letterman in this story as well as in real life as well.
Yep.
And then the death of Jason Todd's Robin is mentioned in the film and the comic. However, the comic was released before the famous death in the Family comic where Jason Todd dies. So that's really interesting that like Miller creates like Jason Todd died, which is why Batman obviously it's implied he stopped being Batman because of it. And we never find out how he died. He just died. And he was a good soldier, but the war goes on, blah, blah, blah. But they obviously, I don't know if they took that and were like, let's make that a story, or if it just so happened to be coincidental.
Maybe
I'm not so sure.
Where
but
the seed came from.
Yeah, maybe. So some cool things here I want to ask you, like, Batman's vehicles, his arsenal. What do you think about like the Bat Tank and the Chopper?
I really
and
like the
things
Bat
like that?
Tank. I've always
Yeah.
liked the Bat Tank.
Me too.
I like the way it get that big turret like pointing, thing that comes off the front. I think the tank's really, really cool, and I like his gear. It's just his big suit at the end. It just works for his big old frame. It just it's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's
works.
awesome. Yeah, and the Chopper, and like I like how Carrie Kelly like reprograms it to like peel and like Billy close or whatever she says. Like she's programming her modern phrases into it because I think that's an interesting kind of like passing of the torch to Carrie Kelly there, giving her more responsibility, and she saves Batman, a few times with the Chopper in this, which I really like.
Yes, she does.
Do you have a favorite scene in these films?
The fairground. I just think it's
the final
like the
Joker
ultimate
fight.
payoff. I love it.
Yeah. I also like the music in that scene. It's like a merry-go-round. The way it's just like do 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 do. It's just constantly playing the same thing. It is really unsettling.
Yeah, I just think that whole, and in the comic, that was that's one of the parts that always stood out to me. And I thought they nailed it. So it's that one.
Yeah,
that scene,
I think that is the winning scene for me. A very close second is when he gets the upper hand with Superman. He one-ups him, and he's just
that's
he's just
great.
got him like he's got him on the ropes, King, and he's just I didn't have to go easy on you, and I did, and like in your deepest, darkest moments, I want you to remember like the one man that beat you, and the way he's like you're feeling it now, like what we all feel, like basically humanity, and he brings Superman down into his level, and he's just like, this is my fucking these are my streets, and the fact that it's taking place in Crime Alley where his parents are shot, love that.
That works.
It's like fan service done at its greatest. This book, you know what I mean?
It was missing was both of them realizing that their mother's names were Martha. Like that was...
How dare you bring that up? How dare you bring that up?
That would have really just made it better. You know what I mean?
Which suit do you prefer Batman wearing this? So in part 1, he predominantly wears the more blue cape with the yellow bat signal, and in part 2, he's wearing the black cape and cowl and the solid black bat signal.
I think I like the black.
Yeah, I do too. I like it more. Think it's it works.
Yeah.
I do like the blue with the yellow symbol, and that's cool. But when after he gets beaten up by the Mutant Leader and he's got the solid black symbol, I'm like, there's Batman. Like that's the Frank Miller Batman that I know. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
The only thing that I didn't like about Peter Weller's performance in this is when he gives that speech on the horseback to the Sons of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, it's very much reminiscent of like, I don't know, a Lord of the Rings speech before they're charging into battle, right? Like an Aragorn or like the King of Rohan or something. But in this, he's just like, we are the law. I am the law. These are the weapons of cowards.
Tonight, I am going to maintain order in Gotham City. You are going to help me. But not with these. These are loud and clumsy. These are the weapons of cowards. Our weapons are precise and quiet. In time, I will teach them to you. But for tonight, you will rely on your brains and your fists. Tonight, we are the law. Tonight, I am the law.
It doesn't sound like I would be like, yeah, I'm going to follow this dude. I'd be like,
more of
this
like
guy.
telling off.
Yeah, I'd be like, that's Batman? That's what he sounds like? He sounds like that? Like, he doesn't go above a certain pitch or volume.
No.
Like, he just stays on that level.
I am the law.
You're a move, creep. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
You're coming with me.
The only thing that I forgot to mention as well is that Gordon's wife is named Sarah in this. In Batman Year One, the name of the woman that he cheats on his wife with, his wife's name is Barbara, is Sarah. So in Frank Miller's world, Commissioner Gordon had an affair and ends up marrying the woman
Makes
he had an
sense.
affair with. Yeah, I mean,
He's a
at least he
cop.
didn't. Yeah.
They've all been married like 8 times.
Dirty bunch, aren't they?
Yeah, of course. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think that like that obviously we've gone through the characters and most of the scenes. So it was a big old review, but this is a big old story. It's hard to like feel like I've said everything I wanted to say about this. Like I feel like I'm always going to have stuff to say about the story. It's just that good for me.
Yeah.
And these films I think are the best representation that we have of this story on screen, because I know that like there's no other direct adaptations of this story, but we've seen it a billion times in movies, especially in Zack Snyder's. We've seen so many Dark Knight Returns odes.
Yeah.
None of them come close to how good this interpretation is.
Nowhere near. Nowhere near.
And I wonder how long do you think it will be until we get a live action Dark Knight Returns?
I don't know. I mean, now we've got these new Batman movies. We're going to get quite a few more of them. If it's something James Gunn wants, maybe it'll happen.
Isn't like an Elseworlds?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they do seem to have a lot of projects that aren't necessarily linked to each other. I think his version of Batman is going to be different to the Matt Reeves Batman. So could happen, but I don't know.
Yeah, it could.
It would.
I just want them to hurry up before like people like Mickey Rourke or Josh Brolin, like age out of it too much.
There'll be more old men actors when.
Yeah, I know, but I want my film now, Ben. I want it now. I've waited years.
Right,
I want it now.
DC, I want it now. Why is it not? Yeah.
We want it now. I want it now.
Exactly. Yeah.